Here we go again, the second TPI Industrial F-12-TE 12-inch floor fan with totally enclosed motor. Unfortunately, it was made in China. Whatever. I mean, it's pretty rare, but sometimes I guess China can make a good product. So let's see if this has the oil ports. Now, of course, I don't know when this was produced. The box is certainly different than the first one that I bought. Of course, that was it two years ago now, I think. The box in this one's different. The cardboard all the way through the outside has some kind of like a, almost like a waxy kind of a coating to it. Probably will be somewhat waterproof. And on the inside, it looks like it's packed with styrofoam, like this. I think the original one that I bought was more of like a plasticky kind of material. I don't like either one, but I prefer the other one for purposes of mess. This can get very messy if it shreds, you know, like it does on the bottom there. I do like that the box is no frills, because that means they didn't waste any money on like graphic designs and printing and so forth. Alright, let's get the fan out of here. Another piece of styrofoam on the back. And this one, geez, I really have not been having good results with getting videos done lately. At least that was a legitimate call. Okay, so this one, it has no oil ports, and the motor is definitely different from the other one that I had. Because the motor on the other one is a shiny material, and this one is dull. Which, I mean, I don't care what color or finish it is, but it's definitely not the same. So let's see here. I'm just curious if it mentions lubricating the motor, because it does mention it in the other one. Let's see here. Okay, so it does talk about oiling it. The motor bearings are lubricated at the factory and should not require any additional lubrication. However, if the bearing lubrication is required, apply a small amount of a synthetic oil to the motor bearing. So, oddly enough, it still talks about lubricating the motor even though there's no oil ports. Now, this is an older one based off of the logo. Okay, I guess they came out with a new logo that has, it's like a 5-bladed fan on there. Let's take a look at the date code. The date code is, I think it has a date code on here somewhere. 2017? Okay, so this fan is like 4 years old. So, I guess that answers the question though, and this is a very odd trend. The older ones from the late 2010s, there was a period of time where there was no oil ports, and then they put them back on. So I guess the question becomes, how do you find one that you know was made recently? Because if I was to buy any more of these, I'd want to make sure that it was made in the last year or so, because that seems to be the thing, is if it's made more recently, it has the ports. This does not have the ports. Now, of course, you could just drill them in or split the motor, lubricate it, you know, whatever, no big deal. As far as the quality is concerned, it's just as heavy. This seems like it's a hair loose. It's certainly no big deal. I can tighten that up real quick. If I had the right wrench, I could. Yeah, this is a hair loose, but we'll just tighten that right up. That's no problem. A lot of fans you have to assemble them out of the box anyways, so, you know, whatever. No problem there. That was just a hair loose. I mean, quality-wise, it seems to be the same. The base is a matte finish. I don't think the other one was quite such a matte finish. It looks a little bit different. blade looks the same. The motor is rated for 1 amp at 1,725 RPM, and it was made by Rising Electric Limited. There's the motor information tag. 1 amp. And then the TPI tag also says 1 amp. So that's kind of interesting. There's no discrepancy on this one, yet there's discrepancy on the newer ones. A lot fewer stickers on there. I'm gonna have to open this motor up and see if it looks the same inside. I tend to think it will. Long plug, no fuse, 3-prong. I think it's 8 or 10 foot cord. Well, let's plug this thing in and see what transpires. I got the kilowatts out here. I'd like to have that in the video, but my power bar isn't moved over far enough to be able to plug it in lower. Could probably fix that by moving the shelf, but I'm not sure if it's worth all that time and energy. Okay, it's plugged in now. I'll plug the power bar in. Okay, we're working with 121.9 volts. Let's go to amps and we'll start it up on low. Okay, it's running. Certainly plenty powerful. It's slightly out of balance. Not beyond what I think is acceptable. I think it's within an acceptable margin of balance, but it's not completely perfect like the other one is. It is acceptable. I would accept the balance on this fan, but it's not perfect. Maybe it'll be fixed that. The blade don't look like it's in perfect clock. So that's 0.32 amps. Let's go up to the medium. That's the 0.35 amps. And the high. And that's the 0.61 amps. So it's well below what it's rated for. Yeah, the balance is okay. It's not 100%, but it's like 95%. It's good enough I wouldn't even try to fix it. I don't think this goes quite as fast as the other one did. I don't know. I'll have to get them out and compare them side by side. Bearing sounds super dry, but the spin down is okay. Hardly any difference between low and medium. Well, it works just fine. It seems to be made just as well as the other one is. I mean, it's super strong. You know, I mean, you're not going to bend anything here. The spin down time is fine. Bearings are free. They're a little noisy because they probably haven't broke in yet, but it seems just as well. Interesting though, very interesting, because it seems to me like these are getting better. The newer ones from this year and last year, 2019 and on, they seem to be made a little better with the motors, which is weird. Very unusual trend, but good to see that. Good to see something getting better. So there we go, another TPI. This one I'm going to alter the blade pitch on. I'm going to match the pitch to the motor draw at 1 amp and see what happens.